Hello, hello, happy Friday, everybody. I am Keisha. I am one half of the host of the Regal Mindset podcast show. Jay, go ahead and.
I am Dr. Joy, the coach. I am the other half of the Regal Mindset Show, and I'm excited about tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna have a great conversation. We're talking about stop explaining your
Mm,
healing, right?
mm,
And I think a lot of us do it for different reasons, right? I don't know that there's
right.
a wrong time or a right time, right? But we all find ourselves at some point, let me speak for me, right?
Mhm,
Find ourselves explaining or over explaining on our healing journey, whether it's, personal reasons, or perhaps you want to assure someone else that they're not going to be affected, or whatever the case is,
mhm,
right? But there's so many different things that can contribute to oversharing, in terms of the healing process or the just healing journey. What were
right.
your initial thoughts, or what are you thinking?
So I want to make a disclaimer. No, we're not copying off of Lachey's podcast that she
Oh,
had
really?
yesterday. This topic is so close, but it was so good.
Yeah.
The interaction, she pre-recorded it,
Okay.
but when she went live, man, it was hitting home. So it's just right. It's in alignment of obviously a topic that needs to be talked
Sure.
about. But I came to the conclusion that no is a complete sentence.
Mm.
And I taught Lachey that. So just in case if y'all heard it twice, she got it from me. But
You want the
no
credit?
is a complete sentence because we find ourselves over explaining because we want somebody to feel comfortable with our decision, and that's not fair to us. And even if when we're talking about healing and you're creating those boundaries and things like that, you're going to have to say no. I think naturally we automatically want to make sure that, I know for me, I don't want anybody to ever have to deal with something that I dealt with before because I know how it felt. So I
Hmm.
will automatically be a yes, yes. And then when it comes down to it, I'm like, I really don't want to do that. But it was so natural for me to say yes
Gotcha.
till I didn't think about the impact until I had to do it. I'm like, really don't feel like going.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
say yes. So then now I need to go. You know, so no is a complete sentence at work, with family, with friends. No.
Yeah. That's true. I'm just curious as to what within makes us initially just blurt out or respond in such a way. Because I have that yes spirit too, right?
Mhm.
And I could be, very busy and have maybe this much bandwidth, and I'm still gonna say yes, right? And I understand the implications of, like, sometimes the yes person, you want people to say yes to you, so you naturally, but I don't know that that's it. I think genuinely we want to please people, but I also understand that yes, no is a complete sentence. I just want to show up for you. I just want to contribute in some way, right? So even if that shifts or changes, I still I still mean yes. I still say yes.
Yeah. But then I think when it comes down to showing up for people, in my mind, you could have showed up for me in 2018, but have not showed up for me since. But because you showed up for me in 2018, every time you ask, I'm going to be there.
Mm,
Because for some reason in here, I feel like you showed up for me, but you only did it one time in all
gotcha.
truthfulness. It's different if you are reciprocating it with real friends.
Hmm.
Like I consider us real friends.
Yeah.
You show up, I'm showing up. We're matching energy.
Yeah.
And if we can't, we can just simply say that, like, okay, I can't do it this week for whatever we I think we're at a place where we can have that conversation.
Yeah.
But then so, to me, I think it's from a traumatic response that my yes was automatic because I did not want to be rejected. And I felt that if I say no, eventually somebody gonna tell me no. So I don't want nobody ever tell me no. So I'm gonna say yes. That was a part of it. My bringing, relationship with my mom. She was her love language was gift giving.
Hmm.
So the only way I knew, well, excuse me, that she knew somebody loved her is they gave her gifts. So I fell into that. So my I love you didn't land until I came bearing gifts, right? So that was to me was a trauma response. And also I never protected myself. I would fight for anybody. But when it came down to me, it was like, all right, well, it is what it is. When me and my sister had that separation, is because she hurt my feelings
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't show up the moment she wanted me to show up. But if you would have gave me the next day, I could have showed up. So the way she handled it, I had to learn to say no.
Got it.
Now, do you feel like yours comes from a traumatic response or just your genuine need?
I think it does, right? I think much like what you said, you want people to show up for you, and it's an exchange, right? For me, it doesn't have to be one time. Um, I like consistency. I expect consistency because I want to be consistent for you. Um, so yeah, I think traumatically, as little Keisha, if I reflect back, yes, I absolutely needed and wanted and expected people to show up for me. And
Mhm.
so yeah, my answer is yes. My answer is yes. It's always and it's probably more than likely rooted from that, I'm sure, right?
Right,
Is it healthy? Probably not, right? But I think it would depend on the relationship that we're talking about, right? If it's a significant other versus a coworker, do I weigh them the same? Absolutely not.
right, right.
You know, distant cousin versus favorite cousin, probably not. you know,
Mhm.
does it mean that I don't want to show up for people? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that there's other things that, like you said, maybe uh over prioritize than something that you have going on, and maybe I
Right.
can't show up physically, but maybe I'll send something in my absence, or whatever the case is, right? So yeah, I think it really does come from a traumatic place that maybe is unhealed, and needs to be addressed.
Yeah, and I also think when we grow and we mature, we know how to position that no. Like
Mhm.
I love my low maintenance friends because I feel that they understand how to exist for other people.
Mhm.
So, like for example, I think I mentioned this before. One of our frats had called and it was a little upset about an event, and it was like, they was venting, and then they end up turning it on me and was like, "And you didn't show up." And I said, "Well, you never asked if I could."
Mhm.
I don't want you to assume just because we're frats that I'm going to always be able to do that.
Right.
And I said, so you're upset with me because you never understood how I could show up for you. You didn't ask if I was going to. You assume I was,
Yeah.
and now your feelings are hurt. Where if we would have had a conversation, I would have told you I'm not going to be able to make it because I can't fly out. It was too far.
Mhm.
It was just inconveniencing at that time for me. But I said, I sent you money. I did everything else that I could.
Mhm.
And they stopped and they was like, I never thought about that. I said, you didn't ask me if how I could show up for you. And if that is so when we're in friendships, we have to set those expectations, even with
Yeah.
family. How can I show up for you now? Because if, and I mentioned before about being a dog parent,
Mm.
I didn't know how to help somebody who lost their pet because I never had that experience.
Mhm.
I don't know how traumatic it is. So I don't know how to be there. But that doesn't mean I don't want to be your friend and support you.
Mhm.
I know my levels of support that I can offer. And I think that's just a level of maturity we get to say, I can't show up for you like that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's
I
fair.
can't. And we also have to be mature to be okay. Well, I had different expectations, but you know what? I can accept that
Mhm. I
and
get
not
that.
be so damaged because a person can't go beyond their means for us.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's interesting? I'm thinking now, and I think I know the answer, or at least based on my experience. Do you think or feel like films over explain themselves versus more masculine presenting people?
No, I think
Really?
studs do, because I feel like we trying to subconsciously, I feel like we're trying to compensate for a lot,
That's interesting.
because you know, I I found myself today. I was explaining, but I was over explaining. It really wasn't about. Well, no, let me back up. It was a little bit about me. I was talking to a bishop friend of mine, and I was trying to make him understand that I wasn't sexually assaulted to become gay.
Okay.
And I kept explaining, and I had to stop. I said, I don't owe nobody that explanation.
Yeah.
I chose who I want to be with because that's who I want to be with.
Right.
And when you dress, like even at the pageant, I didn't verbally say it, but when all the ladies was in there getting dressed, I came dressed so that I wouldn't have to explain why I'm trying. I'm not ashamed of you saying me, but I don't want you to think I'm looking at your booty.
Okay. All
And
booty and good
so,
booty.
exactly. Or when you go to the bathroom, and I was in the restroom the other day, and this white woman did like that as soon as I opened the door. And I'm like, did I scare you?
Right.
So I think in certain instances, we do explain,
Okay.
because even if we do it purposely, or we could be in there, I'm a girl too, I can use this bathroom, that's still over explaining.
Yeah, I get that.
So I just feel like we do want people to understand from our perspective. Films, they blend in. What do they have to explain? They look, majority of them
Mm,
look like the typical woman. We
right.
have to we have to put our credentials up front when we walk in with a bow tie.
Yeah, that's true. I think I was thinking from the perspective of just responding in terms of relationship, right? I just feel like sometimes films tend to over explain why they do certain things, why they act a certain way, why they don't want to do or participate. It just feels like they over explain their actions to me. That's just
Hmm.
what it feels
I
like.
mean, I've
More
never
so than
had that.
masculine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've never had that experience. I would say on the masculine side, I would say we over explain a lot sexually,
sure.
because we already perceived a certain way. I know I do, and I'm quick to tell you,
Same.
I ain't taking it. This is a heterosexual household over here when it comes. And but a lot of people see me when I'm having fun dancing, and they automatically. And I had a lot of frets that I know. No, Deb don't. Deb, Deb was a whole boy. So I feel in those instances,
Mhm.
it's more we over explain, because we're trying to justify our alignment in the bedroom
Gotcha, gotcha.
when it comes down to relationships.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in that case, I agree in that a lot of those explanations or those comments, I'll say, don't even warrant a response. What happens
It
in my
doesn't.
bedroom is between me and my wife.
Exactly. Exactly. But
They
that's
would
the,
love to know.
like, listen, don't call me.
Okay.
But no, but that's the, not just in our lifestyle, in regular people, when straight people, when they look at us, they automatically think sex.
That is
That's
true.
why they have such a problem with us, because they automatically think of what we're doing. They don't think that we can have healthy relationships. They don't think that we can raise healthy children. They think we booty bumping in front of our children.
Yeah.
That's the
th-
typical.
Yeah. Trying to figure out the sexual
Yeah, and I'm
dynamic.
like, why is that more important? What makes it so wrong with me loving another woman? And you automatically think, well, Adam and Eve. So you're thinking sex. You're not thinking relationship. You're not thinking emotions. And Adam and Eve only came together to procreate. And so it's
Yeah.
like most people, that's the first thing they go to. When they see us, they automatically think about the hidden parts of us, what type of underwear we're wearing, all that they thinking about those things. They're not think when you see a feminine girl, you don't think that she got boxes up under that skirt, and she probably do. But
Wow.
but think about it. They're trying to figure out: are we wearing boxers? Are we wearing briefs? Are we wearing panties? What do we got on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't understand the curiosity, but I guess that's just something that they feel like they need. What's up, cousin? What's going on?
Right.
I love you too.
But
Right,
it's
absolutely.
yeah, we have to justify more. And that's why I said I feel the more masculine identifying or masculine presented we have to justify more or over, you know, than
Right.
any like even with parenting, I have to explain that I have to say I'm not the bio mom because
Yeah.
they look at Abby, they look at me, two different skin colors. They look at her hair, then they look at mine. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, mother, her birth mother. Like, who say she ain't belong to me?
Yeah, yeah, that's true. I could see, in that dynamic, right? Having
Mhm.
to explain. I'll say for me, it's if they know me, right, they know I have kids.
Yeah,
Like
we
I
know that.
I did not birth, right? That was just again, I'll say it. It
That was
was
in
not
your
my
bingo
ministry.
cards. But you are the
But
best grandparent I've
le-
ever seen. You
listen, I
went and
love
paid to
that
make
part.
your babies.
Yeah, I love that part. But I guess my point in saying that is because the kids differ in shades of brownness. Some of
Mhm.
them assume, right,
Yeah,
that I did birth some of them, right? But I don't choose to spend my time trying to correct their ignorance, right? That's
right,
just something that you're gonna have to live with. You figure that out on your own time. I will say, let's segue into the boundaries that we have to create, right? So for me, that is a boundary that I create. I choose not to entertain. You think what you want to think, right? If
right,
that's what pays you and that's what makes you feel better at night, that's fine. I don't worry about things like that. My kids know who their mama is and who their daddy is,
right,
who I am, right? And if you notice, right, they call me by my first name, right? That's purpose. That's intentional, right? My
right,
mother named me Keisha. She did not name me mommy.
right.
That's just how I think, right?
Mhm.
Whatever quench your thirst, that's what I'm talking about, cousin. But so yeah, we have to. I could see, the masculine presenting person having to set those type of boundaries, right?
Mhm.
Uh, both personally and once we're outside and we're engaging with other people, especially people who may or may not know our family dynamics, right?
Mhm.
Also, even in the professional space, right, we sometimes have to over explain. Clearly I don't look trans, right? But I imagine trans men and women have to over explain the
Right,
part of the process that they're in, right? And that also I would imagine they would set boundaries in terms of what they're comfortable sharing and what they don't feel like you need to know. And
right.
we have to respect that.
Yeah.
That just makes sense to me.
It makes plenty of sense. It makes plenty of sense. But I think the taboo of it all still triggers that curiosity
Hmm.
in people. Because I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna be honest. And no, I've never looked nor I asked. But when I meet a trans man that's sipping female to male, I do be wanting to know, like, where we at with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I do
yeah.
be wanting to know because I'm like, it got to be worth it to me. If you're gonna cut the skin off my arm or my leg, I need to be, I need to be Mr. Marcus around this joint. I'm not coming out looking like a toddler. Yeah, I need to be Mr. Marcus. And that's just my thought. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
but I do be thinking that like if you go through, or even when they go from male to female, because King of Maya Scott just got engaged, and she's male to female,
Hmm.
and then her partner, I don't know exactly what she's doing with her life, but right now she looks like a stud girl. She
Okay.
could be transitioning, she could identify. I never asked, but they just got engaged, and I was like, let me find some pictures with King of Maya in a bathing suit, cause let me see if we tucked good or we ain't tucked at all.
Yeah,
And she
yeah.
ain't tucked at all. She
Hmm.
she clean cut. And I'm like, hey, I'm nosy. I want to know. Like, what
Yeah.
we playing? We playing with fire? Or we playing a home run?
Hmm, that's interesting.
So I can honestly say I be thinking it too.
Yeah, yeah. I can see it to some degree. Um, what about those people, like, once we start doing the work that we need to do to be the better version of ourselves, right?
Mhm.
I know for me, I'm becoming me series, right? And how I have to focus on the key shit that needs to be the CEO of multiple businesses and brands, right? And how I need to navigate those spaces, even sometimes differently, right?
Mhm.
Um, I know that in that process that there's times where I have to disappoint people, where I can't necessarily be as present, right? Or be as even if I'm not physically present, I may not have the financial means to be able to contribute like I used to because I'm
Right.
funding these other projects, right?
Right. Right.
So e- even with that, right, in our own process of living life and becoming better, we find ourselves having to explain why we can't do some of the things we're doing. They may not need to know the entire picture, just know I'm working on some things, and that's just what it is, right?
People don't expect you to change.
Yeah.
So, and let me back up. They may not expect you to change for them or
Uh-huh.
on them.
Okay.
You may change, but I still expect you to be this for me. So, in my head, you're still here. That's why it takes a lot of people a hard time accepting your movements. For example, um, once I got my doctorate degree, I get more pushback from certain people. I don't expect you to call me doctor, but it's there. And you have people that will intentionally won't because they don't want to process
Mm.
that growth. I see
Mhm.
that in a lot of pastors.
Okay.
No, I know Cynthia. No, it's Pastor Cynthia. You have to give somebody that, you know, that level
Level of
of
respect.
growth.
Okay. Okay.
So they and it is now they could be intentionally being disrespectful, but it's like some people don't want to see that growth. Well, I remember when you okay, well, you remember that. That doesn't mean that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So because you're not able to help someone financially, they're going to find a problem with it because they want to go back to when you were always available. So you're messing up their coin,
Yeah.
not being
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
So again, explaining it it depends on the person.
Mhm.
Like if say for example, if it's one of my sisters, I will explain. I just don't have it this pay period.
Mhm.
If it's somebody that they only come to me for that, nope, I don't got it.
Yeah.
And no has to be a complete. That's why I keep pushing no being a complete sentence. Even at work, no is a complete sentence because you have those nosy coworkers that expect elongated explanation. You're like,
Yeah.
no. And they be waiting. I had this one woman, she was like, are you doing something? I said, no. And she was like, okay, and walked off. Oh, you was waiting for me to explain. I said, no.
I can see
I
that.
know it pissed her off. She gave me that Karen head swirl and walked all the way off. Goodbye. I did it on purpose. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
We find, and the more we come comfortable with over explaining us as a community, we don't have to explain it when you go to the police. I ain't got to explain. Here it is. This is what happened. When we go for interviews, you don't over explain to talk yourself out of it. When you're trying to get business done, if you got naturally over explained, you're going to over explain in those type situations as well,
Mhm.
which is a bad thing because you could talk yourself out of a good situation because you've over talked.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. And oftentimes I feel like when we do find ourselves having to over explain this because we're trying to make someone else comfortable, right?
Right.
I don't need for you to be comfortable with my answer. Just know that that's the answer. And it's okay that you don't like it, right? I'm okay with you being okay with not liking my answer.
Right.
I'm okay with it. You're gonna have to find a way to be okay with it.
But what is it about their comfortability that serves us.
I think again from the traumatic place as little Keisha trying to satisfy everybody. Just know that I'm coming from a place of being selfish at this point, right? And in this
That's a good
season,
thing.
yeah, in this season, I have to be more selfish with my time, with my finances, and with my attention. And that sometimes is not going to serve you, or you're not going to benefit from my presence. You're not going to benefit from my attention, whether it's sending something, in my absence, I can't make this event or whatever that is, right? Because my focus is elsewhere, and I
Right.
have to put my energy, my time, my finances into this. I have to feed this so that it grows, and all the other things have to
Mhm.
die. I don't have the time in
Oh,
the
that's
day to
good.
keep explaining to you. First of all, my name's Lakeisha Deshawn Glenn. I ain't got to explain nothing.
Nothing.
Okay. And then sometimes when you use that tone, especially my wife, she knows she know that tone. There ain't no other questions after that.
Right.
But that person has to really know you. And sometimes they'll come back and say, well, why? And this and that. Listen, that's my answer. You have to find a way to be okay with that.
Right. And that's it. Leave the
That's it. That's all.
responsibility to them.
Yeah.
Leave the responsibility to them, because at the end
What's
of
up,
the
Shay?
day, you are only responsible for yourself.
Yeah.
And that's all that matters. I love how you said, be selfish.
Yeah.
A lot of people look at that as a bad thing. And it's like, being selfish is not, because if I'm selfish, because it was programmed in us to think, just give it to them. It's better to give than to receive. That is a boundary and a block, a mental and emotional mindset block. Because we live in a capitalistic world. And if I don't position myself to be somewhat selfish, I'm going to always be settling. And that's in relationship, that's in business deals, that's in any aspect on the job, everything. Like, you have to speak up. You have to set the record the way it needs to be set. And I think that is extremely healthy. And we overall just need to make that a regular thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what happens is sometimes we realize, or we find ourselves where our cup is really full, and we can't take another drop, right? We just cannot, right? You have to have a cutoff valve, right? You have to establish those boundaries, like we said. You have to be the one to do so, because everybody else is going to continue to want to pour into, or want you to pour into them, and you just can't, because you
No,
stored this for
you're
something
empty.
else.
You're empty. You only can serve out of your overflow. I can give you what's spilling over, but I can't give you what's in the cup.
Yeah.
And I think we're starting to get to that point, because that's when we burn out. Then when you burn out, that's when resentment kick in, because then now you're like, well, you won't do it for me, and then it just calls out all kind of problems, versus setting the record straight from the beginning. I really just don't have it to give emotionally right now, mentally, I just don't have it to give financially, whatever the case may be.
Yeah. 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 And the fact of having to over explain that is, to me, is the disheartening part, is the unsettling part, because why do you feel as though I owe you that explanation?
They
Who are you?
do. Right. They that's just the unfortunate part. A lot of people do feel that they deserve, even if you don't owe it, they deserve to know why. No, you don't. It's just because I don't want to.
Yeah.
I just don't want to. I don't feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like when you break up with friends, we need to normalize that. We need to normalize breaking up with friends. I think in my entire 47 years of living, I think I've broken up with like 5 friends. Two of them, one we became friends, but we're distant friends, and one we converse every time we in passing. Other than that, no, we broke up.
Yeah.
We ain't spending the block no more.
So you actually think it's a process of whether it's a conversation or just a mutual unspoken agreement that we're just not at the same place as friends anymore, or is it just
So
it's just
it
silently understood?
and no, those type those type situations, we have to have a conversation because I
Okay.
don't want no misunderstanding.
Okay.
And if you go lie about it,
Huh.
that's fine. But as long as we don't have no misunderstanding, because if you lie and I find out, you ain't gonna like when I'm pulling out this bag on you.
Gotcha.
So I like to set the record straight. This is why we can't be friends.
Mm.
And one person, because we shouldn't have never became roommates. That was number one. And it was just a lot. And they just couldn't keep their words in our house.
Mm.
When I hear our business with three other people, now we got a problem because you didn't bring it to me. You took it to three other people.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that conversation and you knew why we wasn't friends. But we eventually became back friends. Another person, they just lied. But I'm telling you why you lied, what you said. So you can't say, you listen to somebody else. No, I came directly to you. The other person, they know what they did. I kept telling them, hey, stop doing that. You kept
Mm-hmm.
doing it. Stop doing that. You kept doing it. We don't need to be friends because you don't know how to be a friend. I'm more of a friend to you than you are to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think everybody has, well, if we really look at our friends, I know the world is on this. That's my bestie. That's this, my day one. I I have a friend for every friend don't serve the same purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Just like every associate don't serve the same purpose. It's conversations I can have with you that I can't have with certain friends because you're married, so you will understand a lot more.
Sure.
You're financially sound, you will understand. So it's a lot of things that I benefit out of our friendship,
Right.
where that doesn't change my friendship with the other person. It's just that they can't, they don't have that, you know, that commonality.
Yeah.
So I think, you have to put that friendship in perspective. But when it impacts your healing, when it impacts your no, when it impacts you existing as you, we need to see, reevaluate, is this even really a friendship?
Mm.
We got some friends, we got some friends. Is this really a friendship?
Yeah. That's true.
Is this and deal with it like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some people really are, you're more their friend than they are of yours.
Hey, that's listen. You're absolutely right. And just like employers take evaluations every year, there's a
A
friendship
performance
evaluation.
review.
Yeah. Yeah.
We need
Absolutely.
a friendship performance
And
review.
yeah. And if you don't make it to the next cut, I'm okay with that. Right.
You're on a
So
pip.
I don't. Okay. Listen. I don't know that I actually have to have a conversation. I don't. That implies I actually care.
Oh God.
A lot of a lot of friendships that are maybe not as strong as they once were. It's not any if it needs to be revisited and in terms of why it's not that way.
Mhm.
It depends on the person, I think. You're right. For
Yeah.
the most part, I probably don't care anymore.
That means
It's just being honest.
you've already did the separation.
Yeah. No love lost, right? I wish you nothing but the best,
I don't. I
in
want you
life.
to die.
That's not what I want. If at some point, we need to have a conversation about whatever, I'm open to that. I just don't have the time and or
I
the
get it.
energy to explain why we're not as close as we used to be, why we don't hang out every day, why we don't have lunch or brunch on Sundays. I just don't have that to do.
Yeah. But let's go back to something you just said because so you feel that you wish them the best.
Yes, I do.
I'm on the opposite of the field. If I don't like you, fuck you.
Yeah.
Die. I don't care. And is that wrong? Well, I'm not gonna say it's wrong because it's how I feel. Is that can that be normalized to the point where it's almost like how people don't speak ill of the dead? Why?
Mhm.
If there was a bad person, is it gonna change because they dead now that I'm supposed to have some type of compassion when they was horrible here?
Mhm.
So what's like, and maybe I'm just asking because I've never had this out loud.
Sure.
When people are like, well, I just wish them. I don't wish you the best. I want you to
Yeah.
get exactly what you did.
Yeah. No, I genuinely wish them
Mhm.
the best. And I do, because me wishing bad upon them isn't going to change how I feel about them, right? I still have love for you. I still, would help you if you need it. We're just not at that space anymore, right? And perhaps we grew in two different places, and I'm okay with that too. What I'm saying is it depends on the person and the situation maybe that happened, whether I care enough to explain
Mhm.
why we are no longer in this space. Whether, it was good turns, bad turns, whatever it is, right? And that includes the list, a laundry list of exes. I still wish you well. You could have screwed everybody under the sun while we was together. I still wish you well. I
Well, for
have
my
no
exes, I
love
don't
lost.
die.
Listen, I just don't, because it's not going to benefit me any by you being on your last leg, or by
It
you
feels good to
what
see them on their last leg, though.
no, not for me. That's just not where my heart posture is and where I want to be.
Yeah, but
So
I've seen your cutoff. Your cutoff hurts.
yeah.
I witnessed one of your cutoff, and I was scared for the other person.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
ain't gonna
I've
lie
not
to
talked
you.
to that person since.
Listen, I would be scared to talk to you because it was it was all facts. It was all truth. It was all accountability. But I was like, I don't want to be on that other side. I need to get my life right with the Lord.
Yeah, yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think no different from, relating with a person, in a relationship. I don't worry about what other people do.
Mhm.
I know I am a good person. So if you F over me, that's on you.
Yeah, and that
Has
that was a
nothing to do with me.
yeah, yeah,
And I
that
don't want
was
what you do to
mhm.
affect or change who I am.
Right.
Right. And I heard Mike Tyson say that. He said, you know, I don't want the other person to change who I am, and then I start showing up different and start operating out of that space. I
That's
don't want to
good.
do that,
That's good.
right? Again, same with karma. Your karma belongs to you. I don't want to deal with me wishing you bad or not allowing you to live your best life. Listen, go right ahead, do what you're gonna do, baby. I wish you well. If there's anything I can do to support you in the future or even now, I'm here
Mhm.
for you. That don't mean we going to brunch on Sundays. I just
But
don't.
see, you talking about supporting them in the future. I'm trying to forget them in the hour. I don't move on. And I mean, but then everybody like once it takes me so long to eject somebody out
Yeah,
of my emotions. Once they're ejected, it's literal. And people may think I'm playing. I will forget your face, that you exist, your name. And it's ridiculous on how I can disassociate.
yeah.
I remember we went to a party and nope, I'll tell you about one of our friends and their wife. We was at an event and they wife, well, they wifed up a wife of our one of our friends,
Uh-huh.
that little situation. And I walked in, hey, I went around the room, jumped over that person, kept right. They looking at me. I'm like, you don't exist. I told you you didn't exist. And I didn't even acknowledge their existence. And I
Yeah,
think that is what ate them alive.
yeah,
Is the fact that I saw you and I didn't see you. Like it was, and they little boo came to me, and you didn't, and I wasn't. I said, I don't deserve them a conversation. And I think because I have that capability, I rather explain why, but explain why we're not being there, but I'm not explaining the healing of it. Like if that
Okay.
makes sense. I want to explain why we're not talking anymore, but you're not getting any additional explanation after that.
Right.
Because I feel like going back to explaining my healing is adding on to my no. No, I can't do it because I didn't get paid this week. That's too much explaining. No. Or where my healing comes in, where I need to be separated from people. Well,
Mm-hmm.
you ain't called me in a week. You know what? I was just going, I don't owe you the explanation. Well, you didn't call me either. Because there's some people that really feels that way. They don't call you regular.
Mm-hmm.
But then as soon as you stop calling, all of a sudden the world ended. And it's like, no, I have to hold you accountable that you didn't balance our friendship by calling as well, because I hurt too.
Yeah.
You know, and if you have anybody in your life that don't understand why off of your interaction, because that should be enough too.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, I just, there's times where I don't want to have to explain uh perhaps why I neglected to return your phone call, or
Mm-hmm.
why I don't speak to you as often for some people, they don't have nothing to do, right? And I know they ain't got nothing to do because they on the phone, they on social media,
Wait, when you say
consuming
that to do,
content.
like do it throughout
Yeah,
the day?
yeah, like no,
Okay.
they just wake up. They have no agenda, nothing on the calendar, no
Mm-hmm.
meetings, no conversation, no nothing. They have nothing to do, but they got time to talk on the phone. They going ha ha he all over social media, consuming all of these people's content. They,
Mm-hmm.
I have stuff to do. And me conversing with you for 10, 15, 20 minutes, that's too much of my time that is
Right.
valuable and needs to be inserted someplace else
But
that is
that's the,
more valuable.
and you just made a great point. The most valuable thing a person have
It's
is
time.
time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes I again, I don't have the time in the day to explain to you why I ain't got time
Right.
to talk to you.
Right.
Just do what you
Right.
do. We can both operate and exist in this world, even each other's world.
Right.
And I don't have to call you every other day, every week, every
That's why you
month.
need low maintenance friends that don't get offended if you didn't talk to them in a week, because you know you got real friendship.
Yeah.
And if I have to talk to you every week or every day, it's just not going to work. Because there's times where I will talk to you often, but
Yeah.
then you might not hear from me for 3 months unless we got some business dealing
Yeah.
or some interaction. And that doesn't mean I don't love you or you don't
Right.
exist to me. That means just I just ain't talk to you.
Yeah. Yeah. We know
But
we have things to do.
yeah, but you didn't send a text message either.
Yeah. Like if it was really pressing, it's nothing to
You
say, hey, you got a second, or can I call you tomorrow? Whatever that is.
right.
But for those people who have nothing to do, they want to take up everybody else's time.
Every dollar you got.
I'm good at telling, listen, find you something to do. Find you something safe to do or somebody to play with.
So if we could give people what time looks like, if every minute is $1,
Mm,
would you waste it?
that's a great question. I think
So
people would be more conscious of the time that they spend doing the things that they're doing.
if
Right?
you have to put a value on your time, a dollar value, so then you have to see why when individuals said, I don't have the time. And I remember it was Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp says he showed his watch. I think he had an AP. I think he had an AP. And he said, I don't wear this watch to tell you what time it is. I tell you, I wear this watch so you'll know how valuable my time is.
Okay.
That
I
killed
love that.
me,
Yeah.
because even as business owners, as whatever, however you exist, Your time is that valuable. And if you have any conversation with a millionaire or a billionaire, they would tell you that they don't trade time for money at all. They learned that lesson when they was going to work, how America wants you to continue to work till you're 70 years old. And
Okay.
then your expected life is 6 years after that, because the average life for a man is 76 years. So after you retire, you got 6 years to enjoy it. Does that make sense? Your time is valuable.
For sure. Can't get it back.
You can't, that's the only thing you can't get back. You can
Yeah.
get another love, you can get another child, you can get anything except time. If you lose your foot, you can get another foot.
And I choose not to waste it explaining to you about
That part.
why I don't have time to talk. That is just crazy to me. But
Right.
again, we have to look at the person, right? If I could go through my call log right now, the amount of people that I talk to on the phone, man, y'all would think my phone is dry. And I'm cool with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that means that takes less of my time away from yapping on the phone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And focus on the things that I need to do that is going to change the trajectory of my life and my family's life. Period, point blank. That's my focus and my goal.
And it makes people respect your time because
Yeah.
you're not giving it to. And as a coach consultant, I had to learn that too.
Mm-hmm.
I give out so much of my time to people feel like I'm on speed dial,
Mm.
and you have to dial that back. And it takes more effort to correct the path than
Mm-hmm.
it is to start the path out correctly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Absolutely agree. What about guilt versus growth and how we can separate it, right? You
Mhm.
mentioned just a few minutes ago or a few seconds ago in terms of how you had to correct people's behavior in terms of being a coach, uh, and how accessible you are to people. How did you harbor any guilt at all? And if you did, how do you separate that from actually just creating healthy boundaries?
Let me make sure I'm clear. Ask your question one more time.
Right. So guilt versus
Mhm.
growth, right? In the example that you just stated, where you had to push back, right, and set healthy boundaries in terms of people being accessible to you, right, or you being accessible to them. You had to push back and say, just because you're used to always calling me or used to
Mhm.
always being able to reach me or have access to me, I have to create healthy boundaries. Did you
Mhm.
have any guilt with that, or was it just you saying, hey, there's got to be a clear separation here? This has to make sense.
No, I did in the beginning. I had guilt because I
Okay.
didn't want people, and that was again me not valuing myself.
Uh-huh.
The guilt came is, well, I don't want people to think that I think I'm all of that. No, I think
Gotcha.
I am all of that. I
I
know
love
what I had to value what I bring. I had to value my time. I had to value the information and the resources that I contribute.
Okay.
And that changed to now, like when people text me, oh, I got a question about a loan. Okay, here go the link to set an appointment. And then when they click the link and it's $150 and that's at a discount, I'm only giving you, you're only paying $150 for 30 minutes of my time. If you value my time and my worth, then you'll pay that 150 because you know you're getting 10 times that when we talk.
Yeah.
So again, you have to put a dollar value for people to understand. And if somebody tell me, well, I'll go do it, then that means you're not
Yeah.
my customer and I'm not supposed to help you
Mm-hmm.
because you will invest in whatever you want to.
Mm-hmm.
If you want those Jordan shoes, you're gonna go stand in line. You're gonna get paid that $200, $300, $500 for them shoes, something that you can wear because you
Mm-hmm.
want perceived value. You want somebody to look at you and say you got that money. Well, I don't care if you look at me like that because as a millionaire mindset, outside of having the money, the millionaire mindset says it takes $524 an hour a year in a regular work week for me to be a millionaire at the end of the year. So if I want to be a millionaire for 1 hour of my time, that's $524. For 30 minutes of my time, that's $261. So I'm already shorting myself. Mm. You cannot go up to Bill Gates and take 5 minutes of his time without some type of reciprocity. Like if I go up to him, Bill, I got one question. He gonna turn around. I don't have time. I got 1 million followers and they want to know this. He's gonna turn around. Reciprocity. My 5 minutes to answer your question, 1 million people gonna see it. So that's how you. That is what made me realize there's no guilt in this. I set the standard on how you should love me, how you should respect me, and how you should deal with me. And if I value my business as little, then I'll take your text message and answer your question. But I value my business because I know what it brings. I value my time. So that link is $150 and that's a discount. What about you?
Yeah, no, I didn't have any guilt. So I'm a Taurus. I really don't have guilt, right? Not concerning that. It is what it is. I am comfortable enough in my skin to be able to say what I can and cannot do, and I'm reasonable about that. You know, I will admit that yes, there have been periods in my time where maybe I didn't have as many things to do, where I could offer longer periods of time where I could stay away, or longer periods where I could offer to you more money perhaps that I could give to you, or whatever the case was, right? Whatever that scenario or situation was. I'm no longer there, and I'm okay with verbalizing that to you. That relinquished the responsibility away from me. I've already communicated to you what it is.
Right.
You can respect or not where I'm at, but you got to find a place, or you got to figure out how you're going to deal with my response. That's it. That's all. It's not my job to make you more comfortable with my response. So there's no guilt for me.
No, I love that. Yeah. And that's a very strong position to be in. And it's a scary position for some.
Yeah.
When they want that acceptance, when they want somebody to like them, you have to be okay with not being liked. And I thought that was a bad thing, but I kept hearing so many wealthy individuals say that. When you get to the point where you don't care if you're liked or not, things will change for you. Because based off what you just said, I don't care if you don't like me because of a healthy boundary that I set.
Right.
That's enough to live off of.
Yeah. And what's also crazy to me is when you start doing things to other people, right? Whether they've set boundaries and you're now in a position you have to respect their boundaries, then they got a problem with that. How you got a problem with me treating you like you treat me?
Right.
You got to figure that out.
Matching that energy is a bad thing.
Okay, listen, I ain't got time to figure that out. You figure it out.
Exactly.
Then you let me know.
Exactly.
And then I'll decide whether or not I care. Because 9 times out of 10, by that point, I don't care.
You don't care. You don't care at all.
Absolutely not. Right. So predicting your energy without isolating yourself, right? And how I interpret that is kind of the same, right? I expect or I would like people to have the same energy that I give, right? If they don't, right, because they could be on their own, more than likely they're on their own journey, right? Which is I can 100% respect that. And if the timing isn't right, I'm okay with that, right? I can't project, although I would like for us to be on the same energy, but I understand if we're not, right? That I have to be more resourceful in whatever it is that I need and find another way.
Right.
That's it. That's all. And everybody's not comfortable with understanding that, right? Again, they
Mhm.
need to know, they need closure, they need to understand the whys, they need to find something that's palatable, right? So something that's going to make them feel good. Again, I'm a tourist, I'm sorry in advance, I don't care how it is that you feel.
Right.
I just don't.
No, that's true. That's true because it takes too much energy out of me to make sure you're okay
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm okay with myself. Like I'm
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And in terms of isolating yourself, sometimes that's where you need to be, right? There's times where so my wife is a semi truck driver over the road right now for the last I feel like it's been 3 years.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
I feel like it's been like 1,000 years.
Like easily, right?
You're
So,
right.
but the good thing for me is this isolation has allowed me the freedom and the flexibility to focus on the other things to help us be in a better position when
Hmm.
she's back, right?
Right.
Now, there's other ways I could look at it. It's like, oh man, it's been all this time. But in hindsight, I needed that, not separation. I needed that time to focus on the things that I'm focusing on, right?
Hmm.
And perhaps she needed that for her own personal career path, and not just that, but for her own growth, right? This is
Hmm.
the first time probably in her life where she's ever been away from her kids, certainly away from her spouse, but that she's been this independent and this um what's the word, this I don't know, separated, right? That's the only word that comes to mind. This is the only time in her life that she's been separated for such a long period of time,
Hmm.
away from friends, family, and loved ones, from her routine. Maybe she needed an interruption in her routine
Hmm.
for her to grow. And I'm okay with that. And perhaps I needed this time again to focus on the things that I need. We have to look at things from different perspectives and be
Right.
able to appreciate the value in that, right? Because other people going from the outside, like, and they always ask me, well, how do you do that? First of all, I was in the Navy for almost 8 years, 7 years, 8 months, 13 days.
Dang. Okay.
So, and I say that to say within that time, I dated other people, not my wife. I dated other people, and at any time, if they said I can't do this, I have to respect that.
Right.
I'm going for months, sometimes years at a time, always in a long distance something.
Hmm.
So how am I then going to, when the shoe is on the other foot, and say, well, I don't want to do that?
Right. Right. I
You,
get
you,
that.
you understand what I'm saying? So
I get
I
that.
have to be, and we all at some point, to some degree, need to be a little bit more understanding and more flexible. And where it warrants explaining, then do it. And where it
And
doesn't,
yeah,
be okay with that.
and be open-minded
Yeah.
about it because some people may not, as you had to, because you've been in that place,
Hmm.
you know how to navigate it. But if you're not open-minded about, good example, when not Kiki Shepard, Jesus, Kiki Palmer
Hmm.
said, I want to get married again. I mean, I want to get married, but we have to live separate.
Hmm.
That will destroy a closed-minded individual in a relationship.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, that might not be a bad idea. We can live next door to each other. I'm finna go sneak over my baby mama house, and it can work for some people. But
Hmm.
when you're so closed-minded about the all the possibilities of still having a healthy situation or relationship by accepting the stuff that's considered abnormal,
Hmm.
it works. You're able to do what you need to do. BJ is able to do what she needs to do. And it's not impacting how you love each other. Shoot, sometimes absence make the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But again, it takes perspective, putting things into perspective, and in
Mhm.
terms of how you look at it, right? Isolation is not always bad, right?
Right.
And again, to reiterate what we're talking about, so stop explaining your healing. Explaining is not necessarily bad. It depends on who we're explaining to, right? For me, it just doesn't make sense to keep explaining to somebody who ain't got nothing to do all day
If it's
why
your
I ain't got time
spouse,
to talk to them. You want me to do the same thing you doing,
yeah,
right? You
right.
want me to live however you living, right? That's not okay with me.
Mm-mm.
My lifestyle don't requires much more than what you have going on.
Right.
So we can't compare apples to oranges. So I just ain't got the time to explain that.
Ain't
But if
got the
my
time
wife
for it.
asks me, where I'm going
You
tomorrow,
better answer.
Wednesday, then I'm gonna have to look on my calendar and tell I'm going.
You're gonna have to answer because I promise you, if you
Right?
see that 18 wheeler pull up in your house, you
Listen,
ain't answer quick
listen.
enough.
Okay.
I'm like, yo, somebody pull it up on y'all.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and gladly I was, and even sometimes I even found myself recently, or I should say within the last couple of years, over explaining. Well, I'm going here, I'm going there, and I'm thinking about doing this or going to that. I know you're not going to be here. I'm just telling you, in advance or
Mhm.
what have you, just for transparency, right? That's okay. Those types of things or those kinds of communication is okay. But I can't see me telling you what I'm doing next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday when
I
you
don't
ain't got
even
you.
know.
I know you ain't doing nothing.
Right. But then but also, BJ, no, we're gonna keep you safe in these streets because you too nice. And I'll be like,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
let's go save
I
my
can
let
be
me go save my
friendly.
friend.
I'm working on that.
I'm like, don't talk to that hoe. We ain't gonna do her. And I tell her
Yeah.
to her face, no, we're not talking to you. We are not talking to you.
For
But
sure,
no,
for sure.
it's what you explain to who you need to explain to.
Yeah.
And if you feel that you have to explain to everybody, then you continue to do you and be drained and be tired. But eventually you grow.
Yeah.
Eventually and in that growth, you change. As you are no longer a 2-year-old, you became a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and you outgrew those clothes, you outgrew your
Yeah.
teeth, you outgrew everything. And no, even at your good age of 47 and 50
Yeah.
and 62, you're still growing internally just because you stop growing on the outside.
Yeah.
And because of that, you mature a lot different. And certain things you were like, yeah, I'm good on that.
Yeah. No,
Absolutely.
absolutely. So here's a call to action that we're going to ask for our audience. Those of you who've watched all the way through the end, or those who are going to catch the reels or the stories, share a boundary that you're setting this month that
Mm-hmm.
you're actually going to stand on. Right? Share a boundary that you're going to implement this month that you can stand on. Right?
Right.
We would love to hear what those are. I'm gonna put it in the chat, and we can continue the conversation. Right? You got
I'm
anything
ready.
else?
No, I just know that, listen, healing is your responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Healing is your responsibility. And it's okay to be selfish.
Yeah. Good
I'm
point.
taking that. It's
Yeah.
okay to be selfish.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. All right. Until next time, y'all be safe and keep a regal mindset.